Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Örebro here in Sweden, and this is another brewery who I have never reviewed anything from, and this beer of course was just released through Systembolaget on the 1st of April 2017, so quite looking forward to this one. So this one is going to be from Örebro Brygghus, and we're having a taste of their Berliner Weisse today. This is the Hallon, which of course in English means raspberry, so should be really an interesting beer. This one, it comes in at 3.9% ABV. It got a 78 overall on Rate Beer when I checked it out earlier, and personally I always find Rate Beer are a bit strange when it comes to sour beers and stuff. I've tried ones that I've thought are really nice and they don't seem to get the really high ratings on Rate Beer, but as I always say, you know, that it's good for a barometer, but you shouldn't take it as the absolute kind of gospel of beer ratings and stuff. And you know, everyone's palate's different, beer is subjective, so just drink what you enjoy and enjoy doing that. So yeah, but yeah, really cool to try another brewery from a different part of Sweden. My first review from these guys, and they have got quite a few different beers, so I'm sure I will review some more for you in the near future. This beer of course was recommended to me by my friend Andreas at Ulrisan, so I'll put the link to his blog in the description below, so if you're watching from Sweden, do make sure you check that out. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Örebro Brygghus. This is the very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially some of the more random Swedish breweries that I might not have heard of. But it's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So get in touch through whatever medium you want, Facebook, Twitter, Untappd, whatever you like. It's always great to hear from you guys. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Örebro Brygghus then. So Örebro Brygghus, as you might have guessed, are based in Örebro, which is a little bit out to the west of Stockholm. It's almost halfway between Stockholm and the Norwegian border, actually, right in the middle of the country. But they're based in the Apsholmen industrial estate in the city, and the company is run by Anders Granberg, Jesper Palm, and also Christopher Mattiasson. So in total there are actually 8 co-owners of the company, but the brewing is done by Jesper and Christopher, who are actually both qualified brewers, and they previously worked for the Närke Brewery, and there's also Anders in there as well, who worked for Systembolaget for 14 years. So yeah, quite an experienced group of folk running this brewery. But in 2012 those three got the idea to start their own company, so they introduced their beers into Systembolaget a little bit later in 2016. But in the brewery they've got a brew kit from the UK which can brew 2,000 litres at a time, and they're planning over this year 2017 to produce 200,000 litres of beer. So they are constantly expanding their operation and building things up, and they've got 12 different beers. If you look on their website, it was 12 beers that I saw they had, and they are experimenting quite a little bit with sour beers as well, which is becoming quite popular. There's a lot of breweries kind of doing all these different Berliner Weisse beers and stuff like this, but they've got a couple of IPAs. They had a Russian Imperial Stout, I think, as well, so there are the kind of more kind of old school beer styles in there too. But yeah, I've heard good things about this brewery from Andreas, and I'm sure it will be a good beer that he's recommended to me. So yeah, let's get stuck into this one and see how we get on then. So make sure you check out all the links to Örebro Brygghus in the description below. Follow them on Facebook and all of this sort of thing. It tells you a little bit about the brewery on the side, which is just kind of what I've told you in the video there, and it tells you a little bit about the Berliner Weisse style. So Berliner Weisse is a sour wheat beer from that started in Berlin, and it gives you a characteristic sour taste from the yeast and lactobacillus. So yeah, 3.9% ABV, this one, like I said, 78 overall in Rate Beer. There, of course, I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork of this one. There, of course, you can see the Örebro Brygghus symbol, which is actually quite nice. I do like the little artistic slant they've got on this one, but there you can see the artwork is kind of plain and simple. It's nicely done. And you can see that Örebro Brygghus symbol is here as well, and on the other side, and of course it's got, I forget what these are called, but it's got one of these things you can scan with your phone, and it will take you to the, I guess, this probably the Systembolaget or the website page for this beer. But yeah, this one's described as a Starkul, which I find quite funny because it's a 3.9% beer, but of course anything above 3.5% in Sweden is considered a Starkul. You have Folksul as well, which are the ones you can buy in the supermarket. But yeah, as you can see, a nice kind of smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out and into the glass. And to me, as soon as I opened that up, it's a little bit of a nostalgia thing actually, because it smells kind of like the yogurts that my mum used to put in my lunchbox when I was going to school. It's got that almost kind of raspberry yogurt, that sort of red fruity yogurt character to it. It smells really nice. But yeah, as you can see, this beer's poured a really quite bright, almost pinkish colour. It's pretty much the same as the label, actually. I do wonder if that's intentional. It's not that far off the colour of the label. But yeah, it's got a nice kind of pinkish, it's almost, there's maybe a little bit of a kind of orangey reddish character in there as well, but it's almost a pinky kind of orangey red. There's a solid finger of a frothy pink coloured head on this one. It looks really quite nice actually. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, but overall it looks like a really quite nice beer. So yeah, if I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there's not much in the way of transparency to it. It is quite opaque, but yeah, really nice looking beer, and of course you get some really interesting colours from these Berliner Weisses. And I guess the attraction that craft brewers have to this style is that you can do so much with it. You can put lots of different syrups, lots of different fruit, and all of this kind of thing in it. They've put raspberry puree in this one, of course. But yeah, let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah, you know, straight up raspberries. It does. To me, it really reminds me of these raspberry yogurts, the little Munch Bunch yogurts. I don't think you get those in Sweden, but it really reminds me just of one of these kind of raspberry yogurts. Yeah, it really does smell like that. You've got a nice kind of wheaty character to this one, of course. You can smell that sort of wheaty breadiness just underneath the beer, or underneath the fruit, sorry. Maybe there's a wee tiny little bit of a grainy character coming out of this one, some sort of floral and grassy hops as well. But it smells really nice. That's a really nice smelling beer, that one. Yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of that. I'm convinced there's a little bit of an almost lactosey kind of yogurty type smell in this one. It does smell really interesting. Just enjoy that a little bit before you actually taste the beer. That's half the experience with craft beer, of course, is just to kind of enjoy the aroma before you enjoy the taste. But yeah, that's really interesting. You can pick up a little bit of that kind of sharp, citricy lemon character in there too, but really nice smelling beer, this one. But let's get stuck into it then. So this is the Berliner Weisse Hallon from Örebro Brygghus up in Örebro to the west of Stockholm here in Sweden. Once again, thank you to Andreas for the recommendation of this one, and check out this brewery if you get the chance. Skål! That's quite nice. It's really light actually. It's got quite a bit of carbonation to it, this one. But yeah, lots of, you know, as you'd expect, it's got a lot of tart raspberries. I mean, these Berliner Weisse beers, unless you add like quite a few different fruits and things to them, they're not the most complex of beers. So it's all about kind of how well you actually brew them. And I think they've done a nice job with this one. Yeah. I like this one. It's the way that the sort of wheaty base on this one comes out in the aftertaste for me is quite nice. This one starts off really sharp with these kind of big tart raspberry notes. There's a good bit of a lemony citric character in there as well. You can feel that just right around the edge of your tongue there. There's that really sharp lemony citric character. Yeah, there's a really sharp lemony citric character to this one that just kind of underpins that. It goes right around the edge of the tongue. You can feel a little bit of the grassy and floral hops to this one on the very edge of your palate too. There's a nice kind of wheaty malt base to this one. It's got a nice kind of bready, sweet character to it as well. Yeah. To me, I just like how the wheat that comes out in this one, as you move further and further into the aftertaste, the sort of bready, wheaty character comes out in this beer with just a little bit of sweetness actually. I do like just how the flavours in this one blend together. If you just go behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you're getting some of these nice red fruity esters. I'm picking up a little bit of a sort of candied red fruit out of this one. There's maybe even a little bit of a slightly figgy flavour in this, and that comes out a little bit more in the aftertaste too. That's a nice backup to the sharp raspberry characters that you're getting around the edge of your palate too. The sharp tart raspberries really are just right around the edge of the palate, and then the kind of red candied fruit esters are in there as well, which is quite nice. Yeah. I like how this beer comes across. If you get the chance to try this, have a go at it. If you like your Berliner Weisses to have a little bit of that kind of original, that sort of original kind of nice sweet bready character in them, you are going to enjoy this one. The malt base that they have on this one reminds me quite a bit of the Berliner Kindle ones that I've actually drank in Berlin. It reminds me, the bready base on this one reminds me of the original one, which is quite nice, and I do like that when they kind of stay true to the style. There's a lot of experimentation going on with this, of course. You usually add syrup to these beers, and that gives them a little bit of flavour, so it is kind of interesting that people are playing around with these now and putting all these different fruits in them, and it's working out quite well actually, I think. But yeah, this is nice. I mean, if you get the chance to try this one, I recommend that you do. Just be aware, you know, this one is kind of, it's not the sourest of beers that I've come across. I do like, this one for me is actually really quite well balanced, and this is kind of what I was saying, like, this beer got a 78 overall on Rate Beer, but this is one of the kind of nicer and more drinkable sour beers that I've come across actually, and it just suits my palate, so I guess it's one of these things. I think the Berliner Weiss probably is one of these beer styles that really is quite an acquired taste. And it really just is the whole thing with craft beer, like I say, is it's all about what you enjoy, about your own preferences and stuff like this, and for me, this one hits the spot. I would actually love to try this beer on tap and see how it comes across, and with the way that the malt base comes out actually, with the way that kind of slightly thicker wheaty bready character comes out of this one, I would love it if they actually tried cask conditioning this beer as we have back home, these pull casks, because I think that would, just having a slightly thicker mouthfeel, would benefit this beer really nicely. It's nice as it is right enough, but I think with the bready character it's got, that would be a nice little touch for it. That's absolutely nitpicking with this one though. To me, this is a nice beer, and on the basis of this one, I'd be interested to try some of their other ones. I think they had a passion fruit Berliner Weiss as well, and they had another one in there as well. Maybe a grapefruit one I think too, but I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink their other beers on the basis of this one. This is a nice beer, it's well done. Like I said at the start of the video, the Berliner Weiss isn't a beer style that tends to be too complex in its flavours unless you add a lot of different fruits and stuff, and the whole point of this beer style is that it has to be well crafted, and the guys at Örebro Brygghus have done that for me on this one. They've done a nice job with this beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say that it's light bodied. It's maybe a little bit thicker than some of the Berliner Weisses I've come across. The carbonation is quite moderate. It does have a little bit of a bubble on it, of course. It's somewhere between an oily and a wet mouthfeel. This one, it's got elements of both. There's a little bit of hoppy bitterness. Overall, the malt base is quite smooth and a little bit sweet. There's some juicy fruit in there as well, and of course, as you'd expect, it's got quite a bit of this nice, sharp, citricy, sour character, and it's really nicely done. So yeah, a big thumbs up to the guys at Örebro Brygghus for this one. On the basis of this, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to try their other beers. I'd love to try one of their IPAs, and I think I will have a go at some of these more sour beers. As I actually said in my FABQs, sour beers like Berliner Weisses and Wild Ales and all this sort of thing, I never used to be really that into them, to be honest, and it was something that I was kind of like, well, if you're going to review beer, you need to get yourself into it and kind of appreciate the style a little bit more, and they've grown on me, and I think, you know, this one is really, I do like this. I would certainly drink this again. Normally if I went into a bar or whatever, which of course is kind of rare, to be honest. I do like just buying bottles and doing beer at home, but if I went into a bar and this was on tap, I would consider it probably in the same way that I would have a look at an IPA. So yeah, this is a nice beer. If you get the chance to try this one, have a go at it. For me, the good thing about this is that it kind of brings out that nice kind of bready, kind of wheaty sweetness. It sticks kind of true to what you would expect from the original Berliner Kindle actually. So yeah, bear that in mind if you try this one, but for me, it's a really nice beer, definitely for fans of those who love raspberries. But if you like your Berliner Weisses to have a nice little bit of malty sweetness to them as well, you are going to enjoy this beer. But yeah, been really cool to review this one for you. As always, let me know your own thoughts on the beer in the comment section below if you've tried it yourself. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, and do check out out my social media as well, and let me know what your favourite beers from Örebro Brygghus are, and of course let me know some of the other random Swedish breweries that I might not have come across yet. But it's been really cool to do my first review from these guys, and I can promise you, you will see more from these guys in the fairly near future on the channel. So yeah, thank you once again for watching, and I'll catch you all very soon. Until the next time, it's landed just now. Make sure you check out some of these Örebro Brygghus beers if you haven't already. Skål!